team to win a state title. Washington would like to bring home a state title to put next to their second place trophy earned back in 1909. The Commandos, the Panthers, it's Class 3A basketball next.
Welcome to the capital city of America's original March Madness. We are in downtown Peoria, the Peoria Civic Center, specifically Carver Arena for our first 3A semifinal in state history. Hello and welcome to Peoria. I'm Lee Hall. There's a new marshal in town. Yeah, they've been here 2 straight years, but they've got a new head coach, and they take on Washington. And as you heard, it's been a long time since they brought home a trophy. Last time they were in the state finals was 1962. Last time they brought home a trophy was 1909. It's almost as long a drought as the one of the Chicago Cubs. Here for the call of the game, Kurt Pegler and Bill Hitt.
Thank you, Lee. And welcome back to Carver Arena in the first ever Class 3A boys basketball state tournament with the IHSA. It's Chicago Marshals Commandos at 29-4 against Washington's Panthers at 26-3. We mentioned that 4 teams left standing in 3A, all 4 of them ranked in the top 7 in the final Associated Press high school basketball poll. Let's talk about the tale of the 2 cities. Marshall, obviously from Chicago, where the population is just slightly bigger than that of the 13,000 that call Washington home. The enrollments, roughly the same. And Marshall's in the Chicago Public League, while the Washington Panthers call the Mid-Illini Conference their conference home. Both these teams have played pretty rugged schedules. Of course, Marshall would like to think that it's battle-tested because of it playing in the Chicago Public League, and Washington has played the very good Peoria basketball teams as well. You see where Washington is located just 10 miles east of Peoria, so a very short drive. Washington coming 10 miles, and Chicago Marshall coming about 170 miles down the road here to Peoria for the state tournament. We are awaiting the introduction of both teams, and the players have taken their place on the floor. And we're going to hear from our public address announcer, Paul Herzog. He'll introduce the players for this Class 3A state semifinal. And there's a look at our starting lineups. And we thank the folks at Walgreens for their participation in the IHSA Television Network, a proud sponsor of these IHSA telecasts and the IHSA Do What's Right sportsmanship program, as the teams shake hands at midcourt and get ready for this Class 3A boys state basketball semifinal. Buckle in, it's going to be a good one.
Oh, it's going to be a great one. The joints jumping. We have two very strong teams. It's just going to be an exciting game.
You saw the introduction of the coaches as well. Marshall's Courtney Hargraves in his first season has Marshall down at state 29-4, and the Panthers of Washington, coached by Kevin Brown in his fourth season, 98 wins and 19 losses in 4 years. The Panthers have had 4 consecutive 20-win seasons under Kevin Brown. And again, thanks to the folks at Walgreens for their sponsorship of IHSA high school basketball and the Do What's Right program. As you see both teams shaking hands before the game as we get set for Class 3A boys basketball state semifinal. The officials also being introduced to the crowd: Steve Schulten of Elk Grove, Mark Sikierski of Batavia, Bill Smith of Highland Park. It's a thrill for the officials to get down here to state as well, is it not?
It is a great thrill, something that they all strive for. They're very proud when they get there. I walked by Steve Schulten today, and several people congratulated him on making it here.
Yeah, getting to state is not just a big deal for the players and the coaches. The fans love it. Washington is out of school today, and about half the town has got to be here. It's orange and black all over the place. That's their team colors. The pep band, I mean, coming to state is a special experience. As we reset those starting lineups for you, you saw on the screen, essentially Washington starting 5 guards: Ben Warner, Brian Tighe, Corey Sharp, Matt Roth, and Dyricus Sims-Edwards. Marshall counters with the lightning quick Ardarius Simmons in the backcourt, along with Ryan Hare, Eric Harris, Darius Smith, and Dorian Tyler. This is a new kid on the block in Washington. His first trip to state since 1962. It's kind of old hat for the Commandos, who finished in third the last 2 years, but they say it's mission unaccomplished. They want that state championship trophy on their third consecutive trip to Carver Arena.
They really do. They feel they have a point to prove, and they want to get something that they feel belongs to them.
Marshall in its road red maroon uniforms with gold trim. The Panthers of Washington in their home whites with orange trim. And the Commandos have the opening possession. We're underway here in the Class 3A Boys State Basketball Tournament in Peoria. Ryan Hare follows his own miss, can't get it. It's back up and tipped in. Crashing the glass that time is Eric Harris for Marshall.
Well, that's Marshall's plan. They got the ball inside right away, trying to exploit their height advantage. And then we saw him come out right away in a 2-2-1 press.
Nice pass from Dyricus Sims-Edwards down to Brian Tighe, and we're even. Now cutting down the lane is Hare. Got too far underneath, got his own rebound, couldn't get it. Missed again on his second attempt, so Ryan Hare's 0 for 3 from the field to start.
Yeah, but good strong moves to the basket. He didn't finish very well on that.
Matt Ross' first 3 is no good. The Indiana recruit from the top of the circle there, and he is, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the state's most prolific 3-point shooter. And now we're going to have a whistle, and there's going to be a foul against Washington, it looks like. And that's indeed going to be the call. The Panthers are guilty. And that's going to be against Sims-Edwards.
Yeah, he had his hand on the dribbler and kind of guided him a little bit more than permitted.
And so they'll inbound under the basket there.
Yeah, I think the crowd wanted a palming call, but I think the official saw the foul before the violation.
We're just underway. We've played a minute. 2-2, Class 3A boys basketball state semifinals. Winner to play for the state title tomorrow. Entry pass is tipped. It's still loose. Panthers come away with it. Steal that time by Corey Sharp.
They played a little 2-3 zone underneath the basket, but you can see how focused they are on guarding the inside.
Here's Sims-Edwards, the transfer from Peoria Central. He's made a big splash in his first season at Washington, the junior guard. Here's Ben Warner's had the hot hand in the postseason. He misses the 3. Long rebound is tipped out, and the Commandos come away with it. Ardarius Simmons quickly up the floor. They want to push this pace. Now to the corner. A 3 from Smith is no good. Off the front of the rim and cleared by Sims-Edwards.
You know, a little bit of an adjustment.
Matt Roth's 3.
That was an adjustment there. That's NBA 3. But you know, there's such a 3-point focused team. Those rebounds are going to come longer, and Marshall's going to have to maintain their blockout position little bit longer than they might be accustomed to.
99 consecutive games with a 3 for Matt Roth is a state record, and now a 3 on the other side by Ardarius Simmons, and he answers with a 3. We're 5-all. Here's Sims Edwards with Darius Smith on him. And Smith comes away, or a poke check that time, if you would, by Eric Harris, who switched out. Now it's going to be the baseline jumper that goes down from Tighe. So Brian Tighe, who's not really the scoring threat for the Panthers at just 8 points a game, has 4 quick points now for his team, and now quickly back down the floor and inside. The short shot is missed by Eric Harris, but another rebound basket. The Commandos have done a great job on the offensive glass in the early going.
Right, several I think 2 of their 3 baskets now are putbacks, and offensively they have, it seems like 5 or 6 offensive rebounds already.
So we stay tied. This time it's 7-all. Here's Sims Edwards' first shot of the afternoon is missed off the glass. Now it's Simmons back in the front court. Down the lane, draws attention, scoop shot, and a blocking foul is going to be called against Matt Roth.
You know, that's another one of those tough calls. It looks like he might have leaned his shoulder a little bit. Certainly that's what the officials saw. Established position early, but the drive came down. It looked like he just leaned a little bit into him.
Kevin Brown, the animated coach of the Panthers, not happy with that call. That's the first team, or the first personal against Roth, and the second team foul against the Panthers.
You know, I think some of the hardest calls for officials are the charge blocks.
And now we have our first set of substitutions. Matt McClellan enters the game for Washington. Meanwhile, Jaron Lee is going to enter the game now for Marshall. His first look at the floor, Devaris Davis. Kind of that super sub is what Courtney Hargraves calls Davis. He's in the game now for the first time. Simmons makes the foul shot, and he gives Marshall a 9-7 lead. We've got an officials timeout here on the floor. Back with more from Carver Arena in the Class 3A boys basketball state semifinals in just a moment.
Marshall's head coach, Courtney Hargraves, has actually made 3 trips downstate. Back in 1991, he made it downstate as a player under Coach Luther Bedford, and he actually was at Redbird Arena 2 weeks ago as an assistant coach on the girls' team. He actually is down here as his first time as a head coach, where he has also had a little experience as a player, so he'll now talk about that with us in the little soundbite that we have for you guys from earlier.
First time just out, just enjoying yourself with your teammates, you know, then as assistant coach, being under the greatest coach ever, you know, now it's my turn as a head coach. It's just wonderful.
Nothing quite like that appearance at state. In fact, Bill, now your Proviso East teams, you played against that young man in 1991, didn't you not?
We did. We didn't play him at Champaign in the tournament. We played them at Thanksgiving at Glenbard West, and they obviously were a very good team that year.
That was the first of your 2 state championship teams there for the Pirates, and a turnover against the Panthers. And just to follow up that thought about Courtney Hargraves, he calls Dorothy Gators, one of the top coaches, regardless of gender, regardless of sport. He was a 5-year assistant coach under Coach Gators, who's won 8 championships with the girls' side for Marshall. And after he got the head coaching job on the boys' side, said, I'm going to stick with this assistant thing. I just love these girls too much. So he still hangs out and is the assistant coach during game days with the Marshall ladies. There's a nice bounce pass down low and a lay-in that time by Matt McClellan.
And you saw right after that basket, Hargraves just telling Ardarius Simmons, get that ball up as quick as you can. They just want to run, run, run.
Simmons the miss, the offensive rebound as laid in by Davis, I should say. And now quickly back up the floor come the Panthers. They've got numbers. McClellan again scores with the right hand, so 4 straight points for Matt McClellan.
You see Marshall coming out with their press, and Washington is doing exactly what good teams do. They're attacking the press, and they have to make Marshall pay for their gambles in the backcourt.
Well, as much publicity as the 2 stars for the Panthers get, we're talking about Dyricus Sims Edwards and Matt Roth. They've said that the meat and bones of this team is the meat and potatoes are the guys like Matt McClellan and Brian Tighe, the kind of the glue guys, and they've really showed up here in the first period.
You know, they do a great job. I'm watching them run their offense against Marshall's man-to-man. They do a great job of back-cutting screens, reading the defenders. They move the ball real well. They pass it well. They set good screens.
There's some great passing again. It's from Sims Edwards to a cutting Warner who laid it in.
And you watch, again, I'm watching them. All their cuts are hard to the basket. They identify, they pass the ball very well.
13-11, a 2-point Washington lead. Back and forth we go. Harris, kick out. Ryan Hare thought about the three, penetrates, draws contact, offensive foul.
I think he got that one right. Player Roth established position down low, stood still, didn't lean. Good call.
First personal against Ryan Hare, first team foul against the Commandos. The Panthers have stayed very poised so far amidst the pressure from Marshall.
And that's such a key, you know, because Marshall's going to go on a run. You just know it. What you want is to make sure it's not a big run. You know, if they get 2 or 3 baskets, okay. Don't make it 6 or 7.
Matt Roth with the missed 3, and quickly down the floor now comes Marshall. 2.5 minutes to go here, opening quarter. Ryan Hare for 3 is good, and he's in the scorebook. Hare's first made shot is a 3. Now Dyreka Sims Edwards all the way down. He draws contact. He's going to be rewarded with a couple of free throws.
That's a great, strong move to the basket, and again, slid underneath him. Didn't get set before he left the ground.
And that's the second personal now against Ryan Hare here in this first quarter.
Not the kind of player you want to see take an early seat, but Marshall has a lot of depth. They can play well without him. You know, the last 2 or 3 possessions, I've watched Marshall come down and rather than pound the ball inside like they did early, I think they're settling for some perimeter shots here, put that 3 in, but I think they need to get back to pushing that ball inside where they have a definite advantage.
You see the numbers on Dyreka Sims Edwards, who's put together a terrific junior season for the Panthers. He'll be back for his senior year at Washington. The Panthers have some key players coming back for next year as well. So Kevin Brown at State this year. He took his baseball team to State this past spring, the school's first ever baseball state trip, and trying to build a basketball tradition at Washington. Offensive rebound again and a lay-in by Deveris Davis, and again the Commandos crashing the offensive glass.
Yeah, that's about the 8th offensive rebound, and you just can't give them those second chance baskets.
Ben Warner answers a 3 from the corner left.
You know, Washington, after the first couple minutes, has gone to a zone trying to just protect the inside as much as they can. But it's a little bit harder to rebound out of the zone than it is a man-to-man. So we'll see what happens if they can't get a little bit stronger.
Now we got another offensive foul. That time taking the charge, it's Brian Tighe.
You know, that's just smart basketball.
You see the season highs and lows for Courtney Hargrave's team. 105 points in a game last month against Chicago Collins, and then defeated by another Final Four team, Chicago Simeon, held at just 43 points.
Well, Simeon will do that to you. They're very patient with the ball.
And now a steal. The pressure pays off for the Commandos. Simmons slips it down to Harris, who laid it in with the left hand. So Darius Smith scores, and it's now a Marshall 18-17 lead, and again some trapping pressure put on by the Panthers. Here's Roth now in the corner where Warner just hit one. His shot goes over the backboard and out of bounds.
He's got great range, doesn't he?
He has NBA-type range.
Wow.
He's had it for 4 years. He's been a 4-year starter for the Panthers. He was just a fresh-faced freshman on this team that made it to the Super Sectionals as a freshman, but this year one step further to state.
For all you youngsters playing hooky today, if you want to learn how to shoot or want to see what a good shot is supposed to look like, just watch him.
And now a 3 from the corner is missed that time by Montrese McKnight. He's got the 3-point range, but it's going to be another inside basket by Darius Smith.
Okay, at that time, Roth did not get his body on the backside. The ball bounced up, and Smith just so relentless going to the boards.
Well, that's been certainly the biggest point here in this first quarter of action, is how well Marshall has played the offensive rebound. Near steal, Warner comes up with it. Now Roth thought about the 3, steps inside the arch. Pull-up jumper is rolling off. Cleared by Eric Harris. And now in the final seconds of the quarter, Simmons down to Lee, spinning and scoring. And that's how this first quarter ends. So Marshall answers with 6 straight to win the quarter. Marshall 22, Washington 17. End of the first quarter of the Class 3A state semis. Back with more after these network messages.
22-17, the Marshall lead over Washington here after one quarter. We are with the all-time winningest coach in Illinois boys history, Dick Van Sciac. He won a state title in his last year with Manual, but in 1962, he coached the Washington Panthers to their last state finals appearance. What do you remember about that team, Coach?
Well, it was a great group of young men, and they've always been a spot in my heart for those guys, as they know these guys are going to remember this for a long time also.
A great coaching tradition at Washington. You coached there. Chuck Bisher coached there. He won 2 state titles with Central. Chuck Westendorf coached there. He assisted you. He assisted Chuck Bisher, and then he became your son-in-law.
Right. Steve Doty was also over there, did a great job.
What do you think of Kevin Brown and what he's done with this team?
Doing an outstanding job. The kids playing hard. It's a tremendous first quarter. This game is going to go right down to the wire, I'm sure.
Always a pleasure, Coach.
Thanks.
We talked to him last week when Peoria Manual was here, and he's got ties to Washington, too. There's something some black and orange running in his blood, I think. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, what a spring Dick Van Sciac has had, watching Peoria Manual finish second in the state last week and seeing his first team, Washington, make it to state this year for the first time since he coached. And you coached against him, too, Bill, in a championship game back in 1991. There's a 3.
I did, and that was a real pleasure for me. He's a legend. He's a gentleman and a great guy.
826 career wins, #1 all-time, likely to be passed up next year. Again, let's take a look at our first quarter stats brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards, and really the key number, look at that rebounding differential. Marshall 15-5 on the glass.
That's the key, and by our count, we have 9 offensive rebounds of those 15, and that translates just into a ton of second chance points.
Roth for 3, and that's good. His second 3-point make. He pulls the Panthers within 5 at 25-20.
Well, so far, they've handled Marshall's pressure about as well as they can. If they can recover and guard the paint a little bit better, eliminate some second shot baskets, they're going to hang in there.
Eric Harris scoring down low. So the Commandos are doing damage in the paint right now. Give credit to that scouting report to pound the ball inside. Here's Roth, deep 3, rolls in.
For Marshall, you're not used to guarding people that far away from the basket. You just don't. You close out differently because you don't think the shot's going up.
Now he's going to penetrate and kick. Ben Warner's 3, missed. Tipped out, long rebound. Quickly up the floor is Simmons. And it's going to be a lay-in. It was a 2-on-1 and McKnight finishes. Now we've got a whistle.
Like Darius Smith bumped his head trying to take a charge on that last play.
He looks to be okay. He's going to stay on the floor. Meanwhile, Matt McClellan comes in the game in favor of Corey Sharp. That's Sharp going to the Panthers bench. So Marshall quickly scoring on the transition on the 2-on-1, and now a foul in the backcourt.
They are so quick to the ball. Brian Teig did a great job of catching it and protecting it. And you have to do that because they're going to swarm you.
Well, you bring up a good point, Bill, about the difference in rebounding shooters that shoot the 3 and those long rebounds. You shoot long shots, you get long rebounds.
Right, exactly correct. And it just makes a difference how long you hold your box out.
Here's Teig. Sims Edwards, he penetrates. Hit a shot blocked. Teig gets it back. He finds McClellan in traffic, and Matt McClellan with 6 first-half points.
He gives them a spark around the basket. He's just strong. He has a nice little up and under left-handed move.
The senior who also plays football has given the Panthers a nice lift off the bench. It's a 4-point game. Ball is loose. Commandos get it back.
Washington's now back to their man-to-man, and Marshall does this. They spread the court. They try to utilize their individual quickness to beat the man off the dribble and get the ball into the paint.
Well, this won't be a real popular strategic move for the fans here because there are so many Washington folks that made the 10-mile drive to Peoria. They want to see action, but this is a smart move. Spread the floor a little bit and take some time off the clock.
You know, that's why we have coaches. You know, they're out there, they're thinking about the game. I think Washington would be very happy to go and play a 16-minute second half down 4. So now Coach Hargraves has to decide, you know, is he going to allow that? Is he going to wait for Washington to come out and challenge and just let the clock run down? It's a little bit of a chess match.
16 state appearances for the Commandos since 1934. They were first in 58 and in 1960 under Spin Solario, and looking for a first place finish this year after consecutive third place finishes. And so they're going to bring out everything they've got. Every little piece of strategy they have in the book, they're going to employ this weekend at Carver Arena. As we approach the 4-minute mark left here, second quarter.
Well, my first Illinois high school basketball TV memory was 1960. George Wilson, I believe, was there, Spin Solario, watching the Commandos on TV, and really that hooked me. That's where I got the Jones.
The 1958 Marshall team was the first from Chicago to win state. So now we've gone about 2 minutes. They've been holding the ball since the 5:20 mark, so we're about 2 minutes into this filibuster, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 4-point Marshall lead, and it looks like the Panthers are content too to let this time just click off the clock.
You know, as a coach, you get it. You use the rules as they're written. As a fan, you're sitting there thinking, why don't we have a 35-second clock? You know, because they want to see a game, and I appreciate that too. But you know, you got Ryan here with 2 fouls. You've got the lead. You have individual quickness at almost every position. Why wouldn't you want them to come out and challenge the ball? You know, so I see what Coach Hargraves is doing. I understand that.
Well, when folks take a look at the box score tomorrow and they see how up and down the first quarter was, and then they see that only a handful of buckets were made in the second quarter, they're going to want to know what happened. Well, this is what's happening. We got a little kind of delay of the game, and it's just a 4-corner offense, and now the Panthers are going to come out and guard with 2.5 minutes to go. Nice move by Smith and an offensive foul. Another charge. That's the 3rd charge taken by the Panthers.
You know, defensively, that's just great, smart basketball.
And we've got a timeout on the floor. Marshall leads Washington 29-25 with 2:25 to go here in the opening half. Back with more after this local break. Apple's Bakery Peoria has some of the best desserts your taste buds will ever sample. Visit their website, applesbakery.com, and order one of their Apple Core care packages. They deliver to your door from across the country. That's Apple's Bakery in Peoria. That foul was the first foul whistled against Darius Smith, but the 6th team foul, so now we're looking at 1 and bonus opportunity for the Panthers the rest of the half.
Right, and that's, as you said, their 3rd offensive foul. Credit Washington for identifying the drives to the basket and establishing position.
And now the Panthers with an opportunity to make it a 1-possession game if they can cash in on this possession.
You know, Marshall just shows you so many defensive looks, and you have to identify them because the trapping pressure areas are different with each one.
Sims Edwards cut off that time. Nice defensive work by Lee. Now down the lane, hangs, fires, and scores.
You know, he is just a great floor leader. He's made his teammates better. He passes the ball well, knows how to finish. Did a great job getting to the glass.
That's his first field goal of the game. 3 ball is going to be missed badly that time from the outside by Davaris Davis. And so Davis will go to the bench, and coming in to replace him is Eric Harris.
You know, he can make that shot. That obviously wasn't a good shot, but that's a shot that is well within his range.
Quick hands and a steal. Dion Stamps has entered the game. A steal, and he missed the shot, tipped up on the offensive glass, and it wouldn't go down. And now the Panthers on the attack mode. It's Warner in the front court. He'll hand to McClellan, who's bumped to the corner. Roth for the lead. It's good. Matt Roth with his 4th three-point make in the opening half, and he's given the Panthers a 30-29 advantage with 1 minute to go in this opening half. Stamps in traffic. He can't get it to go. It's Roth with a defensive rebound. Now will the Panthers hold for one?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to look for a good shot. They shoot the ball so well. All right, they're taking the air out.
Here's Edwards. Skip pass to Roth over the top of the zone. Under a half minute to go here in this second quarter. Now it's Edwards behind a screen from McClellan with 12 to shoot. Flips it to the corner. Here's McClellan on the baseline. Now it's Roth. 7 to shoot. He's on the floor. Long pass in the corner. Ben Warner, baseline 3. Missed it. McClellan had the ball momentarily and out of his hands. And that's the end of a very entertaining first half of play. Washington leads Marshall 30-29. What an opening. First 16 minutes of action, and Lee Hall is standing by with Washington head coach Kevin Brown.
All right, coach is a little fired up, wants to get in the locker room and talk. Well, there was a lot of talk about it. They held the ball for 3 minutes and looked like it took them out of their rhythm.
It did. I mean, we thought they might do that. We need a rest right there. We'd only play 5. I know their best player was on the bench, but we were sitting with 2 guys that had 1 foul. 2 of our big players had 1 foul. We didn't want to get another one on them before the half, and I thought we needed a little bit of rest. So, I mean, and the thing is, it's spread. They got to spread out to do that, so it helps us on the offense or defensive boards a little bit. We got hit by some defensive rebounding in early. We've kind of held ourselves right now. We're going to talk about it a little bit, try to get them spread out and get it done.
People that haven't seen Matt shoot before kind of ooh and ah when they see that 25-footer go up, but his range, he doesn't surprise you, does it?
Nah, he's got the green light. Just shoot the ball. And I think our kids are doing a pretty good job pinching. I'd like a little bit more attack, but we'll live with it.
Good luck second half, Kevin. All right, back over to you, Kurt.
All right, Lee, there was the first half in a nutshell. 30-29, Kevin Brown's Washington Panthers lead the Marshall Commandos at halftime. Class 3A state semifinal. Back with more after these.
Performance Studio brought to you by Chicago and Northwest Indiana Chevrolet dealers. See what's new at Chevrolet. Go to ChevyDrivesChicago.com. Welcome, everyone.
5 minutes, 20 seconds left. 29-25. What makes you stall?
I wasn't trying to stall. Our strength is our guards. We're trying to get them to come out the zone.
Pretty much your guys offensively penetrating too deep. They need to stop, pop. Did you talk to them about that at all?
First of all, we're playing selfish in the first half. Offensively, we have 4 or 5 charges where you're supposed to drive in and kick the ball out. We didn't do that.
All right, Coach, good luck in the next half. Back to you, Kurt.
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, Courtney Hargraves trying to regroup his troops, which appeared to be in front and in control, and then things kind of turned on them. Let's take a look at some of those first half highlights brought to you by Honda. Let's look at Honda's first half. Back here at Carver Arena, Kurt Pegler, Bill Hitt with you. Washington 30, Marshall 29, the first of 2 consecutive state semifinals in the Class 3A boys basketball state tournament here in the IHSA television network. Both teams sending out their original starting 5s to open the second half. Marshall will have the basketball. It's Darius Simmons, Ryan Hare, Eric Harris, Darius Smith, and Dorian Tyler to open for the Commandos. Ben Warner, Brian Tighe, Corey Sharp, Matt Roth, and Dyreka Sims Edwards on the floor to open the second half for the Panthers, who have a 1-point lead. Here's Tyler. His shot is good, and Dorian Tyler has now given Marshall the lead.
They came out and they did what they started the game. They tried to get the ball inside. They focused on that, and they got a very easy look at the elbow.
And now the Panthers opening possession here of this second half. Here's Warner, thought about the 3. Quickly, the Commandos closed on him. Now it's Tighe at the foul line. Warner's going to try the 3 from the wing. He can't get it. It's an offensive rebound by Sims Edwards, though. Now it's Matt Roth. He's left open for 3, and that's too easy.
Well, it was a great effort to rebound the basketball, and then he knows where to look. He just turned, pivoted, looked on the wing, and there he was.
Matt Roth with an open look on the 3-point arch is deadly.
He definitely is.
We've got a foul. It's going to be on the Panthers. He's away from the ball on a screen. That's going to be on Corey Sharp.
Got his both hands on, trying to move him off the block.
Two-point Washington advantage. Here's Ryan here, backs down low, and he's going to get some free throws out of the deal.
You know, Kurt, you watch the game, you get a feel for the game, and then you take a minute to look at the stats. You know, they keep stats for a purpose, and the coaches love them. The stat that jumped off for me, Ryan Hare was on the floor 5 minutes and 37 seconds of the entire first half. They need him out there. He picked up 2 fouls early. You can see right away, he's a very difficult matchup for Washington. He's just really hard to guard.
And they immediately identified him. They got him the ball, and he got to the free throw line, and his foul shots have now tied this game at 33. In fact, the coaching staff at Marshall says now he's a complete player. He may not have been until this year, but now he is a complete player, and that's the reason why he's one of the top uncommitted seniors in the state. People are looking at him good and hard.
You know, and it sounds funny, but he's lefty, and there's a little bit of an advantage to that.
Here's Warner behind a screen, and that's good for 3. He got a nice screen from Corey Sharp. He knocked down the 3, and so the Panthers are back up by 3. Simmons' pull-up jumper is good.
You know, that skip pass went from one corner to the other. A little bit unusual, but obviously it's stretching the defense.
And so Simmons, the Chicago State recruit, with the pull-up jumper, and Marshall's back within a point. It's been a very entertaining basketball game. Warner thought about the 3. Here's Roth, now to the top of the circle. And now back out. Warner again from the perimeter. His shot is missed. Ripped down by Dorian Tyler. 6'8", 180-pound senior. Now quickly back up the floor. Darius Smith. Here's Hare spinning and again drawing contact. 2 more free throws coming for Ryan Hare.
You know, Ryan Hare is literally running to the block, asking for the ball. Marshall's getting it to him, putting the ball in the basket.
There's our key player comparison. You see that Matt Roth has been doing most of his damage, Bill, from the outside. It's been the inside play of Ryan Hare that's been the key for Marshall.
Exactly, and what's going to happen, Kurt, I think, they're going to have to bring help to whoever is guarding here, and then that's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to open up some passing to the perimeter, and number 2, it's going to take away their rebounding advantage. They're not going to be in a position to rebound the basketball if it's missed.
Split the free throws, and the offensive rebound goes to Darius Smith. So the Commandos have a chance to make this a 3-point possession. Again, they go inside to Hare. Through a double team, hangs, fires, can't get it. And the ball is ripped down by a pair of players. On the alternate possession, though, the possession arrow now favors Washington.
You know, if I'm Courtney Hargraves, though, I got to love that. They're pounding the ball inside. That was a great, strong move. He just missed a shot under pressure. But he's very strong there. That was a nice pivot. He put it up with his right hand. He's a lefty.
Well, Marshall's made no secret that they want to go inside here to start this 3rd quarter. Now scoring with his left hand is Brian Tye. Back to a 2-point Washington advantage.
You know, in the first half, Marshall had 8 players score and nobody with more than 5 points. That makes them so difficult to defend because they have all those weapons.
3-pointer from the outside, Devaris Davis. He shoots it at 64% from the 3-point arc, so no wonder he likes it out there. And the Commandos with a 1-point lead. Now Sims Edwards attacks from the right, off the glass and in, and it's a 3-point opportunity for Dyricus Sims Edwards.
That's just a really good, strong move to the basket. He uses his body real well. Jerron Lee trying to draw a charge, just doesn't get his feet there in time.
And so now Sims Edwards, the transfer from Peoria Central, with an opportunity for a 3-point play. His father, Michi, was a very good player for Peoria Central and is the girls' coach for the Lions of Peoria Central. But he's sitting right behind the Washington bench today. He's wearing his Washington colors. He's rooting on his son, who has given Washington a 41-39 advantage at the 4:39 mark to go here in this 3rd quarter. Back with more from the state tournament after these local messages. Our trivia is brought to you by the National Association of Realtors. Looking for a professional realtor? Go to realtors.com. He coached Washington in the 1962 state tournament. We heard from him earlier in the first half. Who was it? We may have given that away with that little sideline interview back in the first half.
Those are three pretty good names right there.
Some real good names on that coaching tree, if you will. We'll have that answer for you in just a moment. Kevin Brown, in his 4th season with the Washington Panthers, he took Bloomington Central Catholic to the small school state tournament here in 2002. That team had a losing record going into the postseason and then went on a roll and won in the regionals, the sectionals, the supers, and got to state where it took a very good Pleasant Plains team into overtime in the state quarterfinal before bowing out in OT. Now another held ball, and this time it favors Marshall. How about the answer to our question? It's the great Dick Van Sciak, who coached Washington from 1951 to 1966. He brought the Panthers to their last state tournament in 1962. He's the all-time winningest boys basketball coach in the state of Illinois with 826 career wins. 3 from the top. Rattles out. That was Lee who missed the shot. The ball's out of bounds to Washington.
You know, I'm not sure I've watched that many basketball games.
Yeah, I think Dick Van Sciak has seen more basketball games than most of us have even thought about attending.
Right. You know, the other stat from the first half, and it's still there right now, is 4 turnovers for Washington, and that's huge. Well, the moment I say it, there's number 5, but only having 4 turnovers through 2.5 quarters against Marshall is really one of the stories of the game, because Marshall, as Coach Longstreet said at half, really looks to score off of their press.
And now the Commandos with an opportunity to tie this game, or with a 3, stake claim to the lead again. Nice pass. How about that pass that time from Darius Smith?
You know, Darius Smith, Coach Hargrave says he's the best junior in the state. I had an opportunity at one of the sectional games, sit next to his mother, Sharon, and I think she agrees with that assessment. But he's a great all-around player. He reminds me of Ryan Hare in that he can do so many things well.
Well, and Courtney Hargraves now says that he fully expects Darius Smith to be an All-American as a senior. How about that for pressure? How about Dyreka Sims-Edwards in traffic and scoring off the glass?
You know, that's the second big-time move to the basket he had.
43-41 now the Panthers lead. A 3 for the lead. Davis couldn't get it. There's an offensive rebound by the aforementioned Darius Smith.
You know, when you play perimeter like that, both teams, it is really, really hard to get a body on someone and box out, because the ball takes funny bounces. You're in a help side position, and then you have to, instead of stepping to the glass, you have to find your man, get a body on him. And Darius is obviously very difficult to do that too.
Wisconsin, Iowa, Marquette, some of the schools looking at this talented junior, and he makes the foul shots, and he makes this a 43 all game. Under 3 minutes to go here, third quarter. Terrific Class 3A boys basketball state semifinal here. We've got Champaign Central and Chicago Simeon to follow. On the low block, spinning and scoring is Tig.
What another great pass from Sims-Edwards. You know, got the defender on the hip, sealed him, put the ball right where he needed it to score.
Davis penetrating and scoring. Well, he was called the super sub by the coaching staff of Marshall, and we're seeing why. Usually that 6th man that comes in and gives them a lift, and he's done that a nice job. Here's Matt Roth penetrating, scoring, and now he's got 3 points coming the hard way. His 3-point opportunities usually come at the perimeter. This time it was a dribble drive and some contact in the paint.
You know, if you look at him, you can see he just breaks the defender down, goes up strong to the basket. What we didn't see just before that was a good little up fake. You know, they're all guarding his 3-point attempts. So he just literally lifted his shoulders just ever so slightly, got the defender up on his heels, and then drove the ball to the basket.
Well, Kevin Brown says that Matt Roth has picked up other parts of his game. He's physically stronger. He's better on the backboards. He's now more aware of his assist opportunities, and that's why he's become an even better weapon than he already was. He was an all-stater last year. This team is another all-stater with a different dimension to his game.
Right. I'm real impressed not only by him, but how well they pass the ball. They have great vision on the court.
There's a nice entry pass, and it's going to be free throw time for Eric Harris, who draws contact.
You know, again, Darius Smith does so many things, finds the cutter inside, gets him the ball where he can do something with him.
Now, Corey Sharp has picked up his 4th personal on that play, and he is Washington's best defender. So Corey Sharp, who's done a wonderful job in this postseason against big-name players, is now strapped with his 4th foul and likely coming out of the game.
You know, Matt McClellan gave them a really big lift in the first half. 3 baskets, 6 points, but more importantly, some big rebounds and did a great job defending.
Eric Harris, the enforcer inside, the offensive rebounder. That's what Courtney Hargraves calls this young man, and he makes the foul shots, and we're even at 47, under 2 minutes to go here, 3rd quarter.
You know, we see so many different looks from Marshall. Right now, they're trying to face guard. Sims Edwards keeps the ball out of his hands.
Ben Warner off the curl, missed the shot. Rebound by Darius Smith, and now the Commandos have a chance for the lead. Here's Simmons. He's been quiet in this 3rd quarter. 3 from the outside goes down. It's Montrese McKnight, and he is a 3-point threat.
You know, he's one of those kids that just has a green light. You know, he's a good shooter. He's obviously someone who is very confident with his shot.
8 points off the bench for McKnight, giving the Commandos a nice lift and a lead, and now a steal. Ryan Hare picked that one off.
You know, one of the very few mistakes he's made with the ball. He left his feet, didn't have his target in mind, and Hare did a nice job of stepping in front of the cutter.
Under a minute to go here, 3rd quarter. Here's Simmons. He's going to back it out. Now he's guarded by Dyreka Sims-Edwards. This is a good matchup between 2 lightning-quick guards.
You know, I was curious to see that, you know, they got a little burned, you know, holding the ball in the first half, and I was curious to see if they were going to hold the ball or attack.
I was waiting to see that as well. They were in attack mode, but threw the ball away. And so now the Panthers have an opportunity for the final possession of the quarter. Marshall had a 5-point lead at the end of the 1st quarter. Washington led by 1.5 points. Roth on the floor now finds McClellan. 20 seconds left here in this 3rd quarter. Tige had his pocket picked from behind, but there's going to be a travel violation against Marshall. Darius Smith was on the floor hoping to get away with it before he could be whistled for the violation.
You know, you just look, if you put the ball on the ground with Marshall, bad things are going to happen, and that's a good call. You can't roll. You got to just stay where you're at.
So now 16 seconds to go. Tige is bumped right off the inbounds, and there's a foul against Marshall. And that's going to be against Ryan Hare. And that's his 4th foul. So Ryan Hare, who had 2 early fouls in the 1st quarter and found himself on the Marshall bench, is going back to that spot after picking up his 4th.
You know, just Roth right there just makes you guard people on the perimeter, and that opens up the whole middle.
And now there's 14.8 seconds to go here in the quarter.
You know, Kurt, I think they're trying to figure out if they got the right number of fouls.
That's correct.
Yeah.
They wanted to identify the foul first and then make sure that the number was right, and they have said that it's Hare's 4th. So now we're at the 10-second mark left here, 3rd quarter. Here's Tige, and he may have turned it over. He did.
Just took a little extra hop before he made the pass.
7.7 seconds, plenty of time for the lightning quick Ardarius Simmons to move the ball up the floor. So Marshall with plenty of opportunity to get a last shot here in this 3rd quarter. Here's Simmons now. He's guarded Sims-Edwards. Simmons all the way down. It's a kick out and a 3, and it's missed. Eric Harris had a good look, couldn't get it to go down, and we're done with 3 quarters of play at Carver Arena, where Washington leads, or where I say Marshall leads Washington 50-47. Back with the 4th quarter of the state semi after these messages from our network sponsors.
The 50-47 lead. We're back at Carver Arena. We're in with the Washington fans, and they've got about half of the town here. We think we are marching to the beat right now, and then what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to do a sprinkler. We might see these guys here again in the future. Their 7th and 8th grade boys went to state. Their 8th grade girls went to state. Oh, we're doing sprinkler. We did the funky chicken, and we also did the Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we are having a good time, guys. Like to see the scoreboard change, though. These fans would. Back down to you.
Thank you, Lee. 6 ties in that third quarter, but Marshall starts the opening of the fourth quarter with a 3-point lead, 50-47 over the Washington Panthers. Yeah, the Panthers have some good underclassmen, some good grade school feeder systems coming in. The Panthers, under Kevin Brown, trying to make this more of a regular trip to state than waiting 46 years to do it. Here's Sims Edwards at the timeline, lost the ball, got it back, but it's going to be an over and back. Our third quarter stats update brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Again, the rebounding totals, we've been monitoring that all game long. Marshall still with 10 rebounds more than Washington. And look at the bench points there. Marshall 21-6.
You know, and that's very typical of them. They don't care who scores. They just want to get the ball into the hot hand.
Now with a basketball and a 3-point lead. This is Smith. He gives it up to Deion Stamps, who's just checked into the game. Montrese McKnight had a big three, which gave his team the lead. Now he's going to penetrate. He had his pocket picked from behind.
You know, we had, for the first 2 quarters, we had Washington with 4 turnovers. In the third quarter, they had 4. That kind of relentless pressure has that, sometimes that's what happens. You know, it just keeps building. Yeah.
Ben Warner for 3, missed it. He's been red hot in the postseason, but hasn't gotten the stroke down here at Carver Arena. There's a block shot that time by guess who? Matt Roth. He's doing it offensively and defensively. Brian Teig all the way down. He's stripped.
Great play by Eric Harris. Just stayed with the ball.
Harris. Now it's going to be a driving basket by Simmons. So defense into offense for the Commandos.
You know, that's a 4-point swing. The 2 you didn't get and the 2 they got. That's huge.
Warner bringing the ball up the floor, guarded by McKnight. Under 6.5 to go here in regulation. 5-point Marshall lead. It matches the lead they had at the end of the first quarter. Here's Matt McClellan from the outside. His jumper is missed.
You know, good ball movement, just maybe not the shot you want at that time.
Simmons in traffic, off the glass, can't get it high up to get the offensive rebound is Eric Harris.
Just a great individual effort there, going for the ball. I think right now, Washington just losing their composure just a tad, and Coach Brown sees that.
And he wants a timeout, so the Panthers call a timeout here, and we'll step aside. Marshall with a 5-point lead. 6:03 to go here in the fourth quarter of the Class 3A Boys Basketball State Championships. Back with more after these local messages. Time for our Walgreens Picture Perfect Moment. Walgreens is a proud sponsor of these IHSA telecasts in the IHSA Do What's Right sportsmanship program. School's out in Washington, so all the young folks are here and enjoying high school basketball. And right now, the Marshall Commandos with a 52-47 lead with 6:03 to go. Key point in the game, we mentioned how that pressure just wears on you. Marshall just keeps coming at you in waves, especially when they play 8, 9, 10 players. And they've said all year long that they felt like as the game goes on, they get stronger. And that's the difference between a good team and a great team. And that's what they've been able to do, is kind of step on the gas in the third and fourth quarter of games this year.
You know, and that's what we're seeing so far right now. I think Washington needs to just relax a little bit on offense. Maybe fatigue on some of those perimeter shots. Some of them that were going in the first 3 quarters are not going in now. Just have a little faith in their offense.
Eric Harris makes the foul shots. It's now a 7-point lead for Marshall. It's the biggest advantage of the game.
You know, and defensively, Marshall really has done nothing except just be more intense in their man-to-man. They're putting tremendous ball pressure on.
McClellan was cut off that time as he tried to drive by Eric Harris. Now it's Matt Roth in from the left side. His left-handed lay-in is missed. Tightrope walk job there by Darius Smith. He gets it over to Simmons. Back up the front court. A 7-point lead in the basketball now for Marshall. Now the Commandos might be content to really spread this out.
Yeah, we're going to see them spread the court, and they're going to try to beat people off the dribble and get into the paint.
Near steal that time by Ben Warner. Fans wanted an over and back.
Yeah, the officials got that one right too.
There's a nice cut to the basket, but Eric Harris couldn't finish, and McClellan got the ball back for Washington. It's a jump ball, and the possession arrow favors Marshall. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 7-point lead for the Commandos. Back with more in the fourth quarter after this network break. In the Pierre Marquette Hotel in Peoria, where you'll find a new fresh menu. Their breakfast buffet is just $7.95, and $7 gets the all-you-can-eat soup and salad bar featured the entire day. Carnegie's 501 Main Street, where else but in the Hotel Pierre Marquette. Time now for our Chevrolet Drive of the Game, brought to you by Chevrolet. See what's new, go to ChevyDrivesChicago.com. That's the three-point opportunity from Matt Roth as he penetrated, but there haven't been a whole lot of scoring opportunities recently for Washington. They've gone 5.5 minutes without a basket. 9 straight points now for the Commandos of Marshall. They're on a 9-0 run. It's going to be 11-0 now after a lay-in by Lee.
You know, again, the quickness, and not to beat a dead horse, but that quickness just has a tendency to get to you.
Dyricus Sims-Edwards lost the ball, got it back, and now has a three-point play opportunity.
He's very impressive with his body control. See him just stay with it, go strong, get his body in, finish with the right hand, and draw the foul.
And that bucket ends an 11-0 run by Marshall. And so to the free throw line goes Dyricus Sims-Edwards. He had a 4-game stretch in December where he had 26, 25, 24, and 25 points. And that's your point guard.
Yeah, and Coach says he's a pass-first point guard, and we've seen that. Just imagine what he could score if he needed to.
And now he's pressuring our Darius Simmons. The ball is down low, and another 2 points for Lee. So,
you know,
four straight for Lee.
Yeah, Washington not quick enough to put man-to-man pressure on the ball, so they're going to try to do some tricks and double the ball once in a while.
Ben Warner, open three. That's missed. Lee up high to get the rebound, so he's doing it on both ends now. Under 4 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. Here's Simmons.
Well, pretty soon they're going to have to think about stopping the game with a foul, put them on the line, see if they can make free throws.
And that was Brian Teig on the reach in on Ryan Hare. And that's his first foul, and it's 1-and-1 opportunity now. Not quite yet. They mentioned 1-and-1, but that's not quite right there. They've only got 4 fouls, so they got a little while to go there. The official had flashed over a 1-and-1, but that's not going to happen just yet. Back into the game now is Corey Sharp. He replaces Ben Warner, and Sharp for the Panthers playing with 4 fouls. Well, it is 1-and-1, okay.
Yeah, the Commandos have 4 fouls.
You're right. So it's Hare to the free throw line, and we're going to be seeing some foul shots here the remainder of the game. The 3:34 mark.
You know, Marshall is a good free throw shooting team too, so it's just a question of going up there and doing what you know you can do, put the ball in the basket.
Ryan Hare's been doing his damage at the free throw line here this afternoon. He's given his team a 10-point lead. It's the first double-digit lead of this game. It comes with 3.5 minutes to go. Sims-Edwards, pull up 15-footer, front of the rim, rolls off. Ball is loose and corralled by the Commandos. And now Marshall really has the hammer with a 10-point lead in the basketball as we approach the 3-minute mark left in this one.
I think one of the real big keys down the stretch has been the defensive effort that Marshall has done on Roth, and that's Darius Smith, and on Tyrese
Sims-Edwards, you're right.
Right, Dyricus Sims-Edwards. Those 2 things have been key.
Simmons crossover down the lane, flips it down to Lee, couldn't finish, but the Commandos get another shot at it. Offensive rebound. Now the ball's on the floor. Hare had it stripped. Matt Roth is down on the floor, and they tie up. And the alternate possession this time favors the Panthers. And now Ben Warner is going to re-enter the game. Little offense for defense here. He'll come back in, and he'll send Corey Sharp back to the Washington bench.
Well, I've seen stranger things than 10 points in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, but to do it, they've got to hit a couple baskets quickly.
Especially with the three-point shooters that they have on the floor.
Right. Look at Darius Smith. He's moving in with Matt Roth.
Sims Edwards lost the ball out of bounds, though. There's that pressure.
They're looking to set up a back screen to the basket and then a high screen for Roth. And I think he just took his eye off the ball for that 1 second, trying to identify where he's throwing the ball.
Marshall is inching closer to a berth in the Class A state championship game tomorrow. Simmons in traffic. Rebound by Lee, and he's been a force in the fourth quarter, but he lost it on the floor. Here's Warner now for the Panthers. Quickly back up the floor. Deep three, Matt Roth. That's missed. Offensive rebound, Sims Edwards, and he spins and scores, and Kevin Brown calls timeout at the 1:55 mark.
Down to one timeout. They'll use that after a quick score if they can get it.
So take us through the strategy here as we tell you about the all-time boys basketball victories. This is by school. See that Centralia won its 2000th game last month on the 15th of February. And we've got some pretty good teams here that are playing for a state championship. But again, the IHSA teams certainly stacking up with the rest of those across the country. Collinsville, Quincy, Mount Vernon, great representation in the top 7 all-time nationally in boys basketball victories. Now, what's going on in both these huddles here, Bill?
Well, you know, obviously, if you're Marshall, you're playing the clock. It's that simple. You have an 8-point lead. You have timeouts, so you're telling your kids, don't turn the ball over. Take a timeout if you have to. On the other hand, if you're Washington, the clock is your enemy. So I think what we're going to see down by 8 points, you don't have the luxury of playing conservatively. They're gonna try to double the ball as soon as it's first. They're gonna try to steal the inbounds. Once it's in, they're gonna double it and see if they can get a turnover. If they can't, they're gonna foul.
And both teams come back on the floor. Marshall with a 60-52 advantage. 1:55 to go. The Commandos using a 15-3 run here in the last 7 minutes to gain this advantage.
And I don't have this in front of me, but I'd be interested to know the last point Matt Roth made sometime early in the third quarter.
I believe it was that three-point play, that dribble drive.
There you go.
That we showed. He had 12 points in the opening half. He's got 17 now, so 5 second-half points for Matt Roth.
And again, Darius Smith doing what he does so well, which is just defend. He's long, he's quick. Kind of relentless.
And the clock, as you mentioned, has become the biggest enemy right now of the Commandos as they try to spread the floor with 90 seconds to go in this one. Ryan Hare down, shot is missed, but Lee is there again. And another opportunity to milk the clock for Marshall.
You know, this game for Washington is kind of ending the way it started, giving up a lot of second shot opportunities and offensive rebounds.
When you look at that stat line, you're going to have to look at what Jaron Lee has contributed to the Commandos. He's not only scored, but he's defended, and he's gotten a lot of those loose balls.
Right.
Got him for 6 points in the game, but his stat line his contributions certainly go deeper than that. Smith's free throw rims out. Sims Edwards for the Panthers. They're down 8 with 1:10 to go. Here's Roth. His shot is blocked. Eric Harris stepped outside and got a piece of that one. And now a minute left in this one. And we've got a whistle, and there's going to be a foul, and it's going to be a travel violation. Whistled against Darius Smith. So a late turnover here, and there's still some life in the Panthers. Sims Edwards brings the ball up the floor. 50 seconds left. Creates. Down the lane, laid it in. Timeout, Washington. That's their final timeout. So with 46.1 seconds to go, it's a 6-point game. And we look at our key player comparison again. Ryan here doing most of his damage. You see from the foul line, just one field goal. Matt Roth has done most of his damage from the three-point arch with 17 points to lead all scores here this afternoon.
Well, it's down to a two-possession game. So they're going to just come at him, try to steal the inbounds, see if they can get something quick. They're out of timeouts, so they're going to have to foul just to stop the clock.
And don't forget, we've got our Class 3A state semifinal number 2 coming between another Chicago Public League, Simeon Wolverines and the Champaign Central Maroons. Follow this one immediately. And the Marshall Commando fans are hooping it up as they're 46 seconds away from punching a ticket to the state championship game. Courtney Hargraves, in his first year, won the Chicago Public League championship with this Marshall Commandos team. In fact, he's the first coach to do that in his first season since another Marshall coach, Harvey Hartenstein, did that back in 1961. He told us yesterday, hey, our team has made it downstate, but we hadn't won the city championship since '91, and that was really hurting that school, and they changed that this year.
Well, you know, the city has a well-deserved reputation for excellent basketball, and I think in the last couple decades in particular, their coaches have begun to get the recognition that they deserve.
And a quick foul in the backcourt, and it's going to be Darius Smith walking down and shooting some foul shots. Ben Warner picked up that foul for the Panthers. 6-point game. Back to the free throw line goes Darius Smith. Marshall folks say that whatever needs to be done on the team, this guy gets it done, but he didn't get it done there at the foul line. Still some time left. Some pressure in the ball, knocked out of bounds. Ryan Hare was there to greet Sims Edwards as he crossed the timeline.
Darius Smith with 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 or 10 points, and just a phenomenal, my opinion, a phenomenal job guarding Matt Roth a good portion of the second half.
We approach the half-minute mark left here. Here's Roth, triple teamed and blocked. Davaris Davis came over and swatted it out of his hands. You think they're not aware of where Matt Roth is on the floor? He drew 3 bodies at him.
Yeah, it's real simple. He's not going to be the one to beat him. That's the decision that Marshall made.
27.7 seconds to go. Still a 2-possession basketball game. And a 5-second call as Brian Tye couldn't get the ball in. And that's a killer for the Panthers.
Yeah, it was.
Now Matt McClellan comes in. He replaces Josh Broadstone, who had gone in momentarily. And now we'll look for a quick foul here if the Panthers can execute it. And a steal. Matt Roth comes away with it. His 3 is in.
Hold on to your hats.
Hare gets the ball across the floor. Smith had it knocked out of his hands. Marshall maintains possession with 14.2 seconds to go. And now it's the Commandos calling timeout.
This is why you love high school basketball. Got a little bit of a scramble going there. He just picks it up, shoots it from college 3-point, hits the net. Boy, I wish they had one more timeout right now. Just stayed with the play, didn't give up on it. All right.
Matt Roth is the career 3-point king in the state of Illinois. He entered the game with 455 made threes, and he's doing it again with 5 more. So give him 460 career threes, and none bigger than that one.
Well, that obviously was a huge basket, but right now you have got to go for a steal on the inbound. They'll probably not guard the inbounder, try to double somebody, and my guess is, you know, Darius Smith, as good as he is, missed a couple free throws. He's probably the one that they'd like to see get the ball, so that he's got to think a little bit about missing a couple. But whoever gets it, they're going to foul right away. So they're going to go for a steal, foul, and then they got to hope that they missed a free throw.
You see that Marshall has 2 timeouts remaining. The Panthers are now out of timeouts. And now Washington, sitting at 9 team fouls, will put the Commandos in the double bonus with the next foul. And Ashley Robinson, let's go to you.
Washington's coach told defenders to face guard, and then whoever's face guarding the person inbounding the ball is going to take the first cutter away and hopefully get a steal off of that.
All right, thank you, Ashley, working our sidelines along with Lee Hall here this afternoon. 60-57. Marshall with a 3-point lead, and it's going to be Ryan here that inbounds. The officials are going to try and separate a couple of the players that are tangled up right now, are Darius Simmons and Dyricus Sims-Edwards. Hare to trigger, and he calls timeout.
They were looking for the conservative pass back to Simmons in the backcourt. Washington did a nice job defending that. Well, let's see what kind of switches they pull. They're putting a shooter in the game, Montrese McKnight, so that you get your best shooters there to touch the ball.
And that possession arrow, which it could be a very key statistic right now, is in favor of Marshall. Again, the Commandos down to their final timeout, and the next foul against Washington will put Marshall in the double bonus. So 2 free throws coming on the next foul. With 14.2 seconds to go. This is what it comes down to. Your whole season down to the final 14.2 ticks on the clock.
Well, this is everything we expected it to be. It's been a great high school game, and we've seen a little bit of everything.
Ashley Robinson has more for us from the sidelines.
Marshall coach told the guys they need to cut to the ball like they actually want to get the ball in bounds and stop walking to the ball. Kurt?
All right, we'll see how the Commandos try and employ that advice here.
Well, the other factor, if they turn the ball over without a score, they have a couple fouls to give, and I don't know if sometimes that's dangerous, especially with the range of the Washington players shooting. You don't want to put them in a shooting foul situation, but you can take a couple seconds off the clock with a foul and just disrupt the offense a little bit.
14.2 to go here, 4th quarter of the Class 3A state semifinals. Marshall with the ball in the lead. The lob goes in, and a quick foul against Darius Smith, who will get 2 free throws now. That foul is on Corey Sharp, and that's his 5th. So Corey Sharp, who's been the defensive stopper for the Panthers really all season long and done a wonderful job here in the postseason guarding players like DJ Richardson of Peoria Central, who's going to the University of Illinois, and Joseph Bertrand of Sterling, who's also going to the U of I, is now on the bench after being disqualified with his 5th foul. And back to the free throw line, Darius Smith.
If I'm Coach Hargraves, I'm going to put somebody in that block. I know what he's doing. You don't want to draw a foul and stop the clock that way. But they have been so good offensively rebounding that I would take my chances. They did not Hare, but they filled that spot.
Smith splits the foul shots. So it's a 4-point lead. That was a key free throw. Broadstone is into the game. That's him giving the ball up to Sims-Edwards. His 3 is rimming out. Ryan Hare up to get it for the Commandos. And with 4.7 to go, that might lock it up for Marshall.
That's a good look. That's a shot he can make. But we don't have many 4-point baskets.
And now walking down to put this game on ice is Ryan Hare. We mentioned that he's an all-state player, and he's got a chance to lock this thing up and give Marshall a berth in the state championship game tomorrow. Held to just 9 points this game, half his average, but he's been big at the foul line. He makes both free throws. And now the Panthers will have the final possession of the game. And Dyricus Sims-Edwards gets off a 3 at the horn, which is no good. And the Marshall Commandos get their 30th victory of the season, and they've got a spot in tomorrow's state championship game. 63-57 winners over a very game Washington Panthers team.
It was just a great high school basketball game. You have a chess match going on with the coaches. You have players rising to the occasion, making big plays. Everybody in the stadium today got their money's worth.
Well, the Commandos finished third in the state the last 2 years. They will definitely better that. They will play for the Class 3A Boys Basketball State Championship tomorrow. And Ashley Robinson is standing by with the Marshall Commandos' victorious head coach, Courtney Hargraves. Take it away, Ashley.
Coach, you guys really stepped it up in that second half. How'd you feel they played?
We downstate. All the teams are good games. We just stuck it out.
First time head coach going to the big dance. How's it feel?
I'm loving it.
All right, Coach. Good luck tomorrow. Our Country Insurance and Financial Services player of the game, Eric Harris, 10 points, 9 rebounds. Not too bad.
Yeah, I just came out and played hard and played aggressive, and we got the win.
Tell me how excited you are about tomorrow.
I'm very excited. This is my first time making it to the championship, and it's going to be a good game tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Kurt, take it back.
Thanks, Ashley. The Marshall girls won a state basketball championship a couple of weeks ago, and tomorrow the Marshall boys will try to do the same. They advance with a 63-57 win over Washington, and back with more from Carver Arena after these network messages.
This IHSA broadcast is presented by Country